I was seated behind a pillar at my sister's wedding. Everyone pretended I wasn't family. Then a stranger sat beside me and said, "Just follow my lead and pretend you're my date." When he stood to speak, everyone turned and my sister stopped smiling. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me start from the beginning. The cream-coloured invitation arrived 3 months prior, interrupting a chaotic Tuesday morning in April. I was running my own small business, a bespoke artisanal candle shop named The Hearthglow, from a cosy, slightly cluttered studio apartment in Denver. I had been up since 3 a.m., wrestling with a batch of notoriously temperamental soy wax infused with smoked cedar and bergamot, a scent meant to evoke a fireside library. The elegant envelope, wedged between a utility bill and a magazine, felt unnervingly heavy. Victoria was marrying someone named Garrett, an investment banker from Chicago. The invitation was stark white, gold embossed, a testament to her taste for expensive minimalism. I was supposed to be thrilled. Instead, a familiar dread coiled in my stomach. My relationship with Victoria was defined by a perpetual, unspoken competition, one I always felt compelled to lose. My existence was proof that our mother's rigid expectations of success, lawyer, doctor, high-powered corporate job, were not genetic mandates. The small, stiff card that accompanied the invitation held Victoria's perfectly legible, almost calligraphic script. "Elizabeth, you're my only sister. It means the world to have you there. We've booked a block of rooms at the Grand Hyatt. See you then." Just a logistical announcement. I called her that evening. "Victoria, the invitation is beautiful. Congratulations, tell me about Garrett." "Oh good, I was worried the mail service in your area might be unreliable." "Yes, Garrett, he's fantastic, head of mergers and acquisitions at Sterling Price. Mother is absolutely ecstatic." Her voice was efficient, clipped. "You sound happy," I offered. "I am, listen, I can't talk long. We're finalizing the seating chart with the event coordinator. I'll text you the hotel code later." She hung up before I could ask a second question. The ache of being an afterthought was now a dull, familiar resident in my chest. The next few weeks were spent avoiding my mother's calls and finding an appropriate dress. I settled on an emerald green cocktail dress that felt vibrant but didn't scream, "Look at me." For the gift, I created a custom, limited edition set of candles for their new life, a clean linen scent for harmony, a rich tobacco vanilla for coziness, and a bold citrus for ambition. I packaged them in a vintage mahogany box. It was a piece of my heart, a symbol of the time and care I wished I could give to her. The wedding was at a swanky converted mansion estate in upstate New York. I drove to the estate alone. The grounds were immaculate, a showcase of status and flawless execution. I arrived an hour early. I saw my mother first, circulating near the champagne flutes, radiating an aura of polished triumph. She caught my eye, smiled a tight, practiced smile, and immediately turned to engage in a conversation with a man who looked like he could be Garrett's older, wealthier clone. She offered no wave, no acknowledgement. Wandering toward the ceremony site, I began to look for the seating chart. My name, Elizabeth Thorne, was listed under a small heading, Supplementary. My corresponding table card was for Table 14, located in a corner of the garden courtyard, situated behind a colossal ivy-covered stone pillar that supported the wedding arbor. My designated chair had a view of exactly two things, the pillar's rough stone surface and the back of a large hedge. It was a precise, strategic placement. I was the inconvenient truth, and my sister had placed me out of frame. I sat, the air was thick with expensive perfume and cheerful chatter. No one approached me. My mother walked past, escorted by Garrett's brother, looking straight ahead, basking in the glow of her achievement. Just as the music shifted to the processional march, a presence dropped into the empty seat 2 chairs down from me. He was in his early 30s, dressed in an impeccably tailored slate-grey suit. His eyes, a startling shade of deep amber, were fixed on the pillar with an expression of profound, dry amusement. He caught my eye. "Well, this is the coveted seat, isn't it? The one with the prime view of the structural integrity." I gave a short, bitter laugh. I especially admire the lichen growth patterns, very organic. "Julian, I'm here as the emergency substitute for my firm's lead architect. I only know the catering schedule." He offered a sympathetic smile. "Elizabeth, I'm the bride's sister," I replied, the title feeling like a badge of dishonor. Julian's eyebrows lifted. "The sister, and they put you here. This is a strategic act of relational geography." "Apparently, I clash with the overall aesthetic," I murmured. Victoria appeared, stunning in a gown of heavy silk. I craned my neck around the pillar, catching only glimpses. As the guests rose for the recessional, Julian turned to me, his amber eyes suddenly sharp and focused. They're heading to the terrace for the aperitifs. I know exactly 2 people at this event, and one of them is currently kissing the other. I propose a treaty, a temporary social contract. He extended a hand. Just follow my lead and pretend you're my date. We crash the center of the room. We make them wonder who you are. We make them see you. It was a reckless, beautiful offer of defiance. My heart hammered against my ribs. I placed my hand in his. Lead the way, Julian. The cocktail hour was a sea of chic, corporate formality. Julian, however, navigated it with the casual authority of a king. He approached a table where my mother was holding court with the vice president of Garrett's firm. Julian's arm settled lightly but possessively around my waist. "Ah, Julian, glad you made it," the VP said, glancing at me with curious eyes. "Wouldn't miss it, Simon, and I'd like to introduce you to Elizabeth. We've just flown in from Paris this morning. There was an absolute debacle with our flight connection, but she insisted we rush straight here." My mother froze, her smile vanished, replaced by a look of panicked confusion. "Paris? Elizabeth, why didn't you tell me you were traveling?" I met her gaze, held it, and delivered a line I didn't even know I was capable of. "It was a last-minute trip, Mother. Julian had a small exhibition opening for his design consultancy. I flew out to support him." The VP's interest was piqued. "Design consultancy, in Paris, fascinating, and you, Elizabeth, what do you do?" Julian interjected smoothly. "Elizabeth is an artisan, a maître parfumeur. She curates scent collections for major international luxury hotels. It's wildly exclusive and incredibly demanding work. She barely has time for events like this." The lie was so grand, so confidently delivered that everyone at the table, including my mother, simply absorbed it. My mother stared at me, her perfect control finally slipping. "Well," she finally managed, adjusting her sapphire necklace, "it's certainly nouveau." Julian chuckled, pulling me away. "It is, but that's what makes it exciting, isn't it? Come, darling, I promised you a glass of that French champagne." Dinner was called. Julian led me directly to the coveted table 2, right next to the head table, clearly reserved for high-ranking executives. He removed the name cards for 2 unknown guests and pocketed them, seating me with the same easy confidence. Victoria and Garrett, already seated at the head table, were oblivious to our seating rebellion. "And you must be Julian's date," a woman named Brenda said. "I thought you were a last-minute fill-in." "Elizabeth is my date. She's Victoria's sister, actually," Julian replied. Brenda's smile faltered. "Victoria's sister? She never mentioned having a sister." "We're close, but we're terrible at corporate small talk," I lied easily. "What's the latest trend in scent curation?" a man across the table remarked. "The trend is authenticity," I said, leaning forward. "Everyone is looking for mass-produced luxury, but the real value is in the narrative. My work is about creating a genuine, complex memory through scent. For example, my latest line, The Antiquarian's Study, doesn't just smell like old paper. It smells like the dust motes dancing in the light, the faint hint of a forgotten pipe, and the leather binding of a 19th century novel. It's an experience." I had spoken my truth, albeit through a luxurious filter, and they had listened. Between the main course and dessert, Garrett's father finished his toast. Julian stood up abruptly, pulling my chair out for me. He walked away from the table, not toward the restroom but toward the head table. I watched, my heart lodged in my throat. He approached the head table, spoke quickly to a groomsman who then left, and then turned to face the hundreds of guests, holding a microphone. The room fell into an unnerved silence. "I apologize for the interruption," Julian said, his voice projecting across the ballroom. "My name is Julian Hayes. I'm here representing the firm of Bennett Strauss." He paused. "But I'm not here to talk about business. I'm here to talk about my date." He looked directly at me. Every single person in the room, including Victoria, followed his gaze. "I met Elizabeth 20 minutes before the ceremony started," he continued, his eyes unwavering from mine. "I met her in the very last row, behind a pillar in a seat that afforded a spectacular view of a hedge. I did not know then that she was the sister of the bride." He turned slightly to face the head table. Victoria's smile, which had been plastered on her face for the last 3 hours, slowly, visibly dissolved. I found a woman who, despite being seated literally out of sight, was still dressed beautifully, still smiling wryly and still refusing to leave. I found a woman who is not just a sister, but an artisan, a visionary, and someone who deserves to be seen. I have spent the entire night being charmed, fascinated, and utterly delighted by her. He raised his glass, looking not at the bride and groom, but at me. So I would like to propose a toast. Not just to the happy couple, he said, but to the most beautiful, authentic person in this entire room, who has now been officially, unequivocally, and permanently brought out from behind the pillar. To Elizabeth. He drank, put the mic down, and everyone turned. Sister Stopped smiling.